Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the PodUp with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. PodUp, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
And good morning. Welcome to a Wednesday Hump Day edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning. Of course, coming to you live from the Crime Prevention Security System studios. You know it by now, but they are large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Once again, Shane Matthews out on business, a business assignment we can't talk about. I'm Terry Norvelle sitting in. We've got a packed show for you. I think you're going to enjoy it. A lot of different topics and two wonderful guests. We'll lead things off momentarily with JC. You know him, obviously, the co-host of this show. JC is set up, as you can see, ready to rock from Casa de JC. And got things rocking and rolling, and got the cable guy and the internet guy all squared away. We'll get to JC, and he'll walk us through the first half. Second half of the show, college baseball. My buddy Trent Intorcia, college baseball player, former player from Mississippi State. He was a teammate of Rafael Palmeiro and Will Clark back in the mid-'80s. Played on one of the best, probably the best team to not win the College World Series, that 85 Mississippi State team. Trent pitched on that team, played on that team. We'll talk some college baseball the second half. But with that, let's welcome the co-host of PodUp with Matt in the Morning, Mr. JC, John Cornell. John, thanks for hanging out with me, man, as we're going to hand it back over to Shane tomorrow, I guess.
Well, Terry, I tell you, when I got word that you were coming in this morning, there was no doubt about it. I was going to be excited about coming in. Terry and I go long, long ways back. And certainly it's good to see you again, my friend. And this is a really exciting time. I make this point to Shane all the time that I love the month of May when you have these spring sport championships, these tournaments coming up with softball and baseball, and then you have the PGA championship, which was moved from August now to May, and that's always good. But then you have the NHL playoffs, you have the NBA playoffs, and it's just a lot to hold on to in the beginning of summer, bro.
You know, a lot of people say October is the best sports month. You get the World Series and NFL and college football. You're right. May, this time of year is a lot of fun. You hit a lot of stuff. The Final Four in the NBA is going on. Major League Baseball is getting started. But let's start our conversation with last night, college baseball, Florida State, the third game, the deciding game. Florida wins. The Gators defeat Florida State on a walk-off last night. John, two teams that are going to get in regional play. They're not going to get the seed they want. I don't think last night's game was a real move the needle for the winner or the loser, Florida or Florida State. Always good to beat your rival. Always good to win the series. Sure. But, John, you watch Florida. You watch every pitch. Getting better, playing bad competition, the same combination. Talk about Gator baseball and the win last night.
Well, I think it was great that Florida was able to have a walk-off type of scenario in the win. You could always watch these games and say, well, they could have done this better. They could have done that better. The reality is this team is putting together a bunch of wins at just the right time. The freshmen the pitchers are pitching better. You're getting that timely hit from time to time. I've told Shane, I said, this team is a 2 or 3 seed going into any type of regional, and they're going to play in the SEC tournament. Last night's win was good. It was not an SEC game, but it was very important going into the South Carolina weekend this weekend. It's very important to continue that way that they're playing, the way they swept Mississippi State, the way they won 2 out of 3 against Missouri. It's very important to keep that type of vibe going, and just to be basic on it. If they can get a couple wins in the SEC tournament, maybe get themselves to a 2 seed as one of the road regional teams in the upcoming NCAA tournament, I think they've done very well for themselves, considering where they were 2-3 weeks ago, Terry. And really, there's no difference between a 2 or a 3 seed when you come to the regionals. And I am stepping over the SEC baseball tournament when I'm referring to the regionals.
Sure.
But the regionals are what makes the baseball season or defines the baseball season for me, and how they do in those tournaments. And whether you're a 2 or 3, I don't think is that significant. I think it's where you go, where you end up going. It could be a place like Hattiesburg. It could be a place like, so that's what matters, is where they're going to go, who they're going to have to compete against in that first game, and then who the top seeded team is in the region.
I heard you say that the other day. The 2 and the 3 really doesn't matter. I thought that was a very astute point. The 2 and 3 are playing each other. You want to stay away from. If you're on the road, you want to stay away from that 4 seed because you're getting the home crowd, the night game. And there's a reason that team's the number 1 seed. Florida, obviously, I know Friday, JC, I was in here hosting and kind of went over the Gator baseball season and how choppy it's been. I mean, from the get-go, they open up with a really good Liberty team. Liberty took 2 of 3, and the definition, the personality of this team started taking shape 3 or 4 weeks in. Middle relief and closers have just killed this team all year. Really. They're trying to, but JC, you look around now at Gator baseball, a lot of those freshmen that were probably in a role that was too advanced for them at the time, a lot of the freshmen, they've got 25 innings. They've started some of these guys 6 and 7 games now. They're starting to figure out a little bit. I think they're going to hit enough. And we can talk about Fabian in a minute if you'd like. But, boy, the bridge, the pitchers that you call bridge guys, trying to get you from the 6th and the 7th to the late in the game, the bridge and the closers have just been the Achilles heel of this team.
It has. But, last night, who the hell? I'm drawing a blank. Number 10. Who was pitching?
Slater came in and
Slater.
Might have been Slater,
And then, I just think that as long as they don't allow big innings, Terry, I can live with a guy hitting a solo home run or whatever, but as long as you don't walk people, as long as you don't allow 4 outs in an inning,
sure.
This is what pitchers like that have to have go well in order to be successful when they're so young and they're trying to find their way. But, think about it. It's May the 18th, 19th, whatever it is. These guys have been doing this since October of last year, playing baseball, doing this, doing that, and then the season starts in February. Okay, I think we've been through a lot, and I think right now the idea that this team is peaking somewhat is very encouraging for fans. And you saw that crowd last night, my man. It was people were into it. Now, granted, Florida State moves the needle more than FAMU does, who comes here. But when you get a crowd like that, you're starting to feel the postseason is on the way. And again, Terry, listen, if they were to win up in Hattiesburg, just hypothetically speaking, and then some 1 seed lost, or something happens, and they're a 2 going up there, then they may just bring it back here for the Super Regional. I mean, anything can happen. So you just got to keep playing. But I love the way Wyatt played. Wyatt is my guy, Langford. I mean,
wow, what a year!
What a player this guy has become, and he goes up there with the Molly Hatchet music as he gets into the batter's box, and Gator Country rolling.
Yeah.
His parents are Molly Hatchet fans. You're a Jacksonville guy. You know how important that is, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I mean, this is all positive. And I think Kevin is finding it that these kids aren't throwing in the towel just yet.
At South State Bank, we understand small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. Also, Celebration Point is where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Visors, Rooftop, Dave & Buster's, Regal Cinema, Hotel Indigo, Sensei, Asian Bistro, Escapology, and the head ball coach's restaurant, of course, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Tuesday you can enjoy 50% off handcrafted martinis from 4 until 10. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where Gators come to celebrate. Let me duck out of the college baseball game for a minute with JC. I'm Terry Norvelle in for Shane Matthews. Shane will be back tomorrow. Did you see what happened last night in Major League Baseball? The pitcher for the Red Sox became only the 3rd pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball to give up 5 home runs in 1 inning. Did you see that, JC?
I did not, but I'm glad it happened to the Red Sox being a Yankee fan. But I did not see it. No.
Well, here's the spinoff. Okay,
all right.
He's only the 3rd guy to ever do that now in Major League Baseball. Gave up 5, not 5 total in his outing, but 5 in 1 inning.
1 inning.
My God, you can't blame the pitcher. You know who you blame? My God, Skipper, take the guy out after 3. How do you let him give up 5? How do you not throw in the towel and protect your guy, JC?
Well,
my God.
Well, let me check this real quick, Terry, because I was watching that game because as a Yankee fan, I always want the Red Sox to lose. But the the Houston Astros, who they own the Red Sox right now. I think at some point the score was 8-. Let's see. I'm looking at this 13-4 final score, right?
Okay.
The Astros scored 9 runs in the second inning. That's the inning you're referring to. And I think the manager. Okay, so I thought that was later in the game. So it obviously happened.
No, early.
So it happened in the second inning. So I think Skip decided that Nathan Eovaldi he deserved this, and you know what? He's going to suffer through it. And we suck so bad right now at 14-22, deep buried into the AL East right now. The Yankees are running away and hiding from us. That Nathan needs to put in some. My guys in the bullpen are probably just flamed out right now with how lousy our team is, and the number of pitches all of this staff has thrown probably got to him, and he decided Nate was just going to take it. He was just going to take it. I'm going
to tie something Gator related into that. But real quick, let me tell you about Chris Story Mortgage. They do mortgage lending, right? Helping homeowners throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Story Mortgage today, 352-244-0840. Getting back to number one, the skipper's got to protect your guy. You're almost like the corner man in a boxing match. At some point, you got to throw the towel in for the humanity of it, right? Humanity.
Well, the humanity of it is true, but Nathan only threw 5 pitches in the first inning. So he got 3 outs in the first inning by only throwing 5 pitches. So I suppose what the Boston manager was thinking, Dusty Baker's over there laughing his ass off. But I think what Boston was thinking was, he only threw 5 innings in that first inning. We've got to get him.
I guess.
More cautious.
But JC, if you're Eovaldi's his name, I believe. If you're the pitcher, you're being hung out to dry to a degree. Okay, you've given up 2. Yeah. Okay, you give up the 3rd. You look over, nobody's coming out to get you. No. You give up the 4th. If you look over and nobody's coming out to get you off the mound, don't you after 4 just throw your glove down and hat down and walk off the damn mound? I'm leave? I'm leaving. I've had enough.
I did. I'm reading this. Chase Anderson and Michael Blazek were the only 2 to have done that. So Nathan Eovaldi's line was 1 2/3, 8 hits, 9 runs, 6 earned, 5 home runs over 39 pitches. Wow, that's called batting practice, brother. That's what that is. And
JC, let me tie the Gators and how you got to protect a player. I immediately thought when I read that this morning, I immediately went back to an early 70s Gator football game. John Reeves was the quarterback for Florida. They get bombed at Auburn. John Reeves, look it up. The most interceptions thrown in one NCAA Division I football game is 9. John Reeves threw 9 interceptions for the Gators in the game loss at Auburn. JC, again, how does somebody in the coaching staff not protect after 4, after 5? Don't you say, hey, let's run the backup. After 6, don't you say, let's run the 3rd string guy. John, you've had enough. How do you leave your guy in to throw 9 interceptions in one game?
Well, I obviously Ray Graves or Doug Dickey or whoever did not have anybody ready to play.
Just hand the ball off.
Well, you could always just do that too. And it's a great question. Maybe, John audibled a couple times at the line and decided, I'm just going to throw another one. I'm just going to toss another one here, these guys. But, at some point, that works on a player's confidence. It obviously does. Yes. Either it works on his confidence, certainly in college, but in the pros, like Nathan Eovaldi, who's getting paid millions of dollars, he's probably out there just doesn't care at that point. After home run number 3, as long as who is it? Alex Cora, whoever. Cora. If Cora's not going to come out and get me, then screw him. I'm just going to throw strikes. If they jack it over the monster, we're going to lose again. We're 10 games under 500. Nobody seems to care at this point. So maybe that's how it went. I don't know. I'm just glad they lost.
All right. You said that 3 or 4 times as a Yankee fan.
You're welcome.
He's JC. Exactly. I'm Terry Norvelle in for Shane Matthews. Let me tell you, Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Fort Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com and join us on Friday for our Peachland Dentistry JC and the QB weekend picks. As a matter of fact, you and Shane will be arguing again on Friday like you always do. We love it. And JC, I think we want to get some picks in real quick before we hit a couple more topics. Talk about what's going on with you and Shane.
Well, sure. Okay, so Shane, he's busy right now on the road, so he made sure that he knew who that we knew his picks. His picks are, and this is a shocker. I mean, as sure as the fairway is green and the sky is blue, Xander Schauffele is his guy. So he's going with Xander Schauffele. He's going with Hideki Matsuyama and Cameron Smith, the TPC winner, who is one of the best short games I've ever seen in my life. And so that's certainly and Southern Hills, Terry, I don't know if you're familiar with this course in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's going to play 7,556 yards. There are two par fives on this course that both will play over 600 yards. If you cannot jack the ball 320, if you cannot consistently get that ball off the tee box, which most of them can, but you got to be over 300 yards on this course. It's playing 7,556 yards. You're going to have a course that's laid out to where you might remember in 2007, Tiger Woods won his last major before all of the chaos ensued at Southern Hills in 2007 on this course. And then, of course, that was his 13th major. And then he won another one, and then he got his 15th at he won the U.S. Open in 2008, and then he got the Masters here just recently a couple years ago. So that gives him the 15th. So those were Shane's picks. I like an idiot, I did not wake up this morning and write down my picks, but I'm just going to come out and say, listen, but that's okay. Because I'm going to take bombers. I'm going to take Justin Thomas. Shocker, JC. That's a shocker, JC. Alabama guy. Okay, right. I'm going to take Justin Thomas. I'm going to go with John Rahm. Shocker, JC. Always pick him. But no, I really want the big hitters here, and I'm not just trying to be. And I think Rory, the way he finished that Masters tournament in the fourth round, just blitzing that course. And though the Masters is very different than what we have here at Southern Hills, he hits it as far as anybody. I want Rory, JT, and John Rahm.
Really going out on a limb there, JC. Really going out on a limb there.
Well, this is a tournament that I think, as a major, it gets the attention of the Koepkas and the people like that. And those are the guys who I think will play the best. Now, look, he's only letting us pick three. I could come out and say, well, there's going to be a big underdog, a guy that nobody's thinking of, like Will Zalatoris. He is playing fantastic golf. So if you want to take Rahm out and put Zalatoris in, you have my blessing to do that.
Hey, is that guy added any weight? Wasn't Zalatoris the guy's about 108 pounds?
He's 108 pounds, but the guy can hit it 308 yards. I mean, his ball striking is phenomenal. How talented he is, and so I'll tell you what. Just to make Shane happy, I'm going to take Rahm out and put Zalatoris in. Okay. How about that? So Fair enough. You go. Now, all of our viewers and listeners and all the millions watching can get very excited about those three picks right there.
The picks are in. JC, we got several more topics we want to hit, man. I'm enjoying this immensely. Not that I don't enjoy watching you and Shane fight every morning like a married couple.
You got to keep coming on, brother.
I love it. But
you have energy in the morning. You get people moving. You get things happening. You have energy. We love it.
Shane's gonna be mad at you for saying that. He's gonna be mad at you.
She's so busy these days, color guy for the University of Florida football team.
He's a businessman,
He's a businessman now. I mean, Terry, I love having you here. I mean, we've had you. I've known you for decades. I mean, you've done great in Jacksonville. So I keep watching you.
Let's hit a couple of quick topics here.
Okay.
Man, the time's running out, but I got things to get to with you. News yesterday broke, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's just personal opinion. Florida State Friday night football, Black Friday night this year. My thought, it's different. Get better, number one. Both programs get better, and you won't be on Friday. Big deal, JC, or no? Friday night, Florida State.
I don't think it is. I think it gives them some. It gives them some. They are the only game in town kind of thing going. Last year's Florida State game was so bad, and to have it clumped in with Alabama, Auburn, and all of the rivalry games that we had on that day, Ohio State, Michigan, it was just a nightmare. And Florida State have to play better. You're right. They have to get better. They will get better. Yeah. Your brother, Mike Norvelle, will do much better. And he'll get players, obviously, is what he needs. And certainly Billy Napier's on the right track here. So Friday night, it gives them that exclusivity. I can live with it for 1 year. For 1 year.
Same here.
I don't want them coming over here in Gainesville and having a Friday night Thanksgiving day after Thanksgiving game. I don't want that. But in Tallahassee, you can live with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm fine with it. I don't think it's that big of a deal if it's a one-off. If it's a one-off, you know, the Egg Bowl on Thursday night is a tradition, but that's two programs that they needed something unique. The two Mississippi schools needed it, and they still need it from an exposure standpoint, and it's a niche now for them. But yeah, Florida State, I think it'll be kind of cool this coming Friday night, you know, Black Friday night, but only one time. JC, the Atlantic Coast Conference had their meetings in Amelia Island, I think last week, and some talk about the format that they might schedule. And they were talking 2-5-5 rotation, where in football, now keep in mind they have two less teams once Texas and Oklahoma get in the SEC, but they were talking 2-5-5, 2 permanents, rotating the other 10, 5 1 year, 5 the next, and you'll touch everybody.
Yeah.
Every 3 years, you'll play everybody.
You have to.
I love that idea. Now, the SEC, I think they will go 9 games. They should. And think about it. When they go to 16, your rotation has got to be 15 because you don't play yourself. The SEC, I think, should absolutely go 3 permanent, rotate 6, then rotate the next year the other 6. You touch everybody, then you still have 3 non-conference to screw around with games. I love what the ACC. I hope the SEC goes 3-6-6. I think you could protect any of your rivals. You know, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. 3 deep is plenty that you have to play. Then you touch everybody. Your thoughts on that? I don't know if you thought much about it.
It makes absolute sense. I think it's appalling that, you know, for so long we've had 8 SEC games. We've had 3 subsidy games and another game. And to me, it just makes sense that you play as many conference games as possible. I think the conferences, as we all know, are becoming more powerful with these additions. Big 12 with all the teams that they're going to be bringing in. Now, obviously, the SEC. The only thing that gets to me, Terry, and I've been saying this, and maybe I can't get over it, but 2025 is a long time from here.
Yeah.
It's 3 years. What are they going to do about getting Texas and Oklahoma somehow out of those? I don't know if they're going to do anything. But, Terry, 3 freaking years from now, I'm going to be in my next decade. I mean, I don't know how they're going to work that out. Somebody needs to write a check.
And frankly, you are all over it. You're so correct. And from the Big 12's perspective, the last thing they need is, as you said, 3 more years of Oklahoma holding a trophy up and everybody going, by the way, they're leaving. They're not really a member, and they're taunting the Big 12 by winning it year after year.
It's so true. And listen, Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, and BYU are about to hit that conference. It's going to go to 14 teams when Texas and Oklahoma. Let's get on with it. All right. Let's get that A&M Texas game moving. Let's get that Oklahoma Arkansas game moving. Let's get things happening. And I know there's money involved and there are contractual obligations and so forth. But, you know, Alabama's playing Texas in the second week of the season, and Fox just made the announcement that it's going to be on Fox. If it's a big noon game and they play that game at 11 a.m., it's just another bad decision being made by the people in power.
JC, I think I saw that listed yesterday, Fox Noon. I think I saw that.
If it's Fox Noon, I'm not going. I will be damned if I go watch a game in Austin, Texas at 11 a.m.
You show up, JC.
Come on, at 11 a.m. in 100-degree weather, you're out of your damn mind. And that's just bad planning. These people have to be smarter about this. Yeah. And this is the whole thing that's gotten to me about college football is that these decision makers sometimes just just blow the mind with some of the things that we hear. And I won't go any deeper than that. But that is good that Florida or that Alabama and Texas are playing. That is a good thing. Yeah. It is a bad thing that they decide to play it in the morning. The Texas fans are losing their mind right now. I almost said something else.
Hey, hey.
Yeah, well, I did. But they're losing their minds because they got Alabama coming to campus. Yeah. And they're going to play them before lunch. That's baloney.
I think I saw that. I think I saw it's noon. That's
assuming it's big noon. That's their. But I don't know this, but I think they may have an evening slot. And I'm not sure if they have an afternoon slot for that game. Yeah. But their highlighted game on Fox is big noon, and I think it's big crazy.
Well, and we'll get off this, but their theory when they rolled out that big noon a couple of years ago, they thought they were behind the 8 ball. They used to marquee their night games, and they still marquee their night games some. But their theory is get going right out of the gate with a big game at noon, big noon game, and keep that audience. They always thought that CBS 3:30 grabbed the audience and kept it. That's their theory. And by the way, you'll have Urban Meyer most likely breaking that game down for you from about 11 till noon. So,
that's exciting. Well, listen, for the TV folks, I guess it's wonderful. For the folks that make the environment, that contribute their time, energy, and finances to an event like this, it is miserable.
I will say this, JC.
For the local businesses and the economy, local economy, it is miserable.
Yeah. Miserable. I will say this, and we'll move on, that if you've watched the Fox pregame, it's head and shoulders above anything else out there. They talk football. They get guys on there and they talk about the games. It's not fluff. It's not barbecuing, and it's not what route you drove to get to the game in your RV. It is a good show. It's a football show.
It's got a little less human interest, a little bit more of in between the lines.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that's that's the audience they're trying to find. Sometimes I think the human interest stories come about because they want to try to expand their audience somewhat.
I agree.
I can go with it or can go without it. Just get me to kickoff. That's it.
I can agree. I totally agree with that. Ruse Ogra State Farm office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help you help life go right with the right insurance options for you and, of course, your family. Visit ograinsurance.com or call them at 352-240-1779. A couple more minutes with JC here. Terry Norvelle sitting in for Shane Matthews. Shane back the rest of the week. Brent Beard tomorrow, and then JC and Shane fighting it out on Friday. You don't want to miss that. Coming up, second half of today's show, a lot of college baseball. Trent Intorcia, my baseball analyst, former Mississippi State player, teammate of Rafael Palmeiro and Will Clark. Trent will join us. We'll talk some baseball. Real quick, bounce around because you're such a Renaissance guy, JC. I know they said he's not running but every 5 or 6 weeks, but why the hell is this horse not running in the Preakness Saturday? My God, you're a horse. You got to run.
I don't know. How do you take the greatest story in horse racing and end it? I mean, you got to keep that story alive. When Mind That Bird won in 06 or whatever hell year it was at 50-1, he came right into Pimlico and could have won that race. And if the track had been longer, he would have. He finished in second. And so, that's the thing. It's a great story, and for some reason, the story will go away.
Well, here's my theory, and we talked yesterday. I don't know anything about it, and the guy said, it's obvious, Terry, you don't know anything about it yesterday. My theory is that horse was such a long shot and pulled off a miracle race.
Yeah.
That horse now, Rich Strike, is a Kentucky Derby winner. If they stop right now, the stud fee, I think, stays high. If that horse goes out and runs Saturday and gets lapped by the field and everybody goes, it was kind of a fluke, I think the stud fee would come down. I think they're worried about that. That's my theory. I think that's their theory.
Okay, then fine. Let's say this. You know what? We'll skip Pimlico, but we'll be at the Belmont.
They say he's going to run. They say he's going to run the Belmont. Maybe they don't think the track fits him, and they think he can get
that's it. That's 100% what it is, Terry. Because the Belmont track is much longer, and the Belmont track,
don't you? So, you got to run him. You got to run him, though.
What is the stud fee going to do if he wins the Belmont? And on top of the Kentucky, you talk about stud fee here. The other one is up there on the top of my screen up there. It's way up there. So, I don't know. Throw the damn horse out there and let him go. He's still going to be a Kentucky Derby winner regardless if he finishes in 1st or 8th at the Belmont Stakes.
JC, we'll get you out of here in a quick second, I promise. But I know even less. I don't know much about horse racing. I know even less about the NHL, but I guess a big game last night between state of Florida teams, or what's going on real quick?
So there's big rivalry between Miami and Tampa Bay in terms of hockey. Okay, so it's Tampa Bay and it's the Florida Panthers. Last night's game, the Florida Panthers had a game tied. They waved off a goal at 2-2. The game was tied late in the third period. They waved off the goal because the puck had hit the net behind the goalie's net. And so the puck was dead. They let it keep playing, and Florida scored. All right, so they wave off the goal. It's 2-1. Florida takes 2 very bad penalties. Lightning score on power plays, get a later goal. It's 4-1. It's a 7-game series. It's going to go at least 6. These are 2 very good teams. Panthers are your President's Cup winner. That means that they're President's Trophy winner. That means they had the most points and the home ice advantage. But there is no such thing as home ice advantage in the NHL, Terry. And the fact is that Tampa Bay is your two-time defending champion, and that something comes with that other teams somehow have problems with. And right now, Toronto, well, it was Toronto in the previous series, and right now, Florida Panthers have to figure out how to win in the playoffs. They have not won in the playoffs. They are not a team that wins in the playoffs. They have to figure out how to win in the playoffs and to knock off the defending champs who already know how to win in the playoffs.
Gotcha.
You cannot take penalties late in the third period. So the Panthers are down 1-0. They've got another home game. They play this every other night. So tomorrow night is game 2 in Sunrise.
And I can tell I'm really smart. You're either wearing a Tampa Bay Lightning hat or an Air Force. I don't know if that's Air Force.
This is the Lightning for the game last night. And, of course, we're getting ready for Tim Walton and the Florida softball team to get going in the postseason there. So.
Real quick, Friday, 4:30, Florida softball at home.
That's right. Yeah.
And I told people yesterday, Florida softball fans, you need to pay attention to Gainesville, obviously, and get out to the stadium if you can, and pay attention to Blacksburg because Gainesville and Blacksburg are married up. So you kind of want Virginia Tech to get knocked off, right?
You do. Hell yeah, you want them to lose. And if Florida can beat Georgia Tech and the others here, and Virginia Tech loses, this is a great place to watch softball now. They've upgraded the facility. It is a great place. Get out there, support the Lady Gators or the Gators. And I think the ladies will give you everything they've got. That's one thing about softball, dude. You never have to ever worry about the effort when these girls hit the diamond in softball. They were always ball out. They will always play.
When women's college softball started making it on TV, SEC Network, they started. I fell in love with that sport.
It's fun to watch.
It's the best in-person or TV sport out there. Same with gymnastics. I fell in love with gymnastics once I saw it a lot. Because both games, both sports, they move fast. You can see everything. Softball is wonderful. JC, we didn't even have time. We'll get to it next time. Magic, I guess, get the #1 pick in the NBA draft. Where will they go? Will they trade it? Will they go Holmgren? Will they go Banchero?
And
real
then
quick, address that real quick.
Well, I can't really say. I don't follow the Magic because they're so lousy. To be honest with you, I just hope they don't mess it up. But Miami last night took advantage of some of the injuries that Boston's going under. Even though Kyle Lowry did not play for the Heat, Heat looked good last night. So that was important. The Celtics, though, I still think could win this series pretty handily in 6 games, but we'll see. And then, one quick thing, Terry, and I'll blow out of here. The NCAA is about to get rid of the scholarship cap on baseball, on these other secondary sports.
Goodness.
Well, because of Title IX, we're going to have because of Title IX, possibly more scholarships available for softball, for women's track, for this, that, and the other. And the baseball guys, they're going to get rid of the cap. It's now going to come down to the conferences and the schools, and you're going to have more than that 11.7 on the baseball team. You may have as many as 20 scholarships now and that was the right thing to do. I railed about that a week and a half ago. I can't believe the timing of it all, but that's going to happen. That looks like it's going to happen, Tony.
Good throw, and we appreciate it. JC, thanks for bouncing around with me. I know you'll be back with Shane on Friday. Have a good rest of the day. Great stuff, man. Really enjoyed working with you. Talk to you soon.
Okay. All right, Terry. Thank you so much. Great.
That's our buddy JC. We'll take a quick break. Talk college baseball on the other side. Trent Intorcia, former Mississippi State and College World Series participant, will join me here on PodUp with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, Aikido America, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, Make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. D.
Hey, welcome back to the second half of a Wednesday edition of PodUp in the Morning. Obviously, Shane is out today. Terry Norvelle sitting in. Enjoyed a conversation a moment ago. Hope you caught that. Boy, JC is a lot of fun. He's a really knowledgeable guy and high energy, a lot of fun to talk sports with. We'll talk some college baseball, trying to hook up with my buddy Trent Intorcia, former Mississippi State pitcher. Trent played at old Johnny Rosenblatt Stadium back in the 80s. He went out to the College World Series with Mississippi State. We'll talk some baseball with him. Real quick, though, let's get to I love this, man. I've had fun with this for 3 days now that I've hosted this show. This Day in Sports presented by Comfort Temp. Comfort Temp. At Comfort Temp, comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Beat the summer heat and schedule your air conditioner's tune-up today, keeping you chill and the Florida heat far away. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Call Comfort Temp at 352-376-2366. And it is that time. I had to have my AC serviced a couple days ago, and I don't want to be first world problem guy, but boy, there's 2 nights where I didn't have any AC. A little tough to sleep. Thank you very much. Let's get to the This Day in Sports, and I'm going to tie it to Gator basketball. It's going to be a birthday, and it's going to be tied to Gator basketball. Here's how we're going to do it. This Day in Sports. Happy birthday, former UConn All-American, Big East Player of the Year, 4th overall pick in the NBA, 14-year NBA veteran Donyell Marshall. And you may say, Terry, why is this the date in sports history, and how does it tie in? If you are an old Gator fan, you'll remember way back in 1994, Florida under Lon Kruger basketball, they are trying to get to the Final Four. They're having a magical run that would end up in the Final Four, but Florida had to get by UConn. Donyell Marshall, the All-American Big East Player of the Year, a 77% free throw shooter. Donyell Marshall, a really good basketball player, 4th pick in the draft, played 14 years, could really shoot. Donyell Marshall late in the game, in the Elite Eight game between Florida and UConn. Game's tied, 3.4 seconds. Donyell Marshall gets fouled. Can you believe that? The All-American Big East Player of the Year goes to the free throw line. Tie game. It's easier to shoot in the tie game than a game where you're behind. You have to make them. Donyell Marshall, who averaged over 25 points that season for UConn, All-American, misses not 1 but 2 free throws. Game goes in overtime. Florida wins, goes to the first Final Four. That's why we have Donyell Marshall's birthday as this date in sports history, tied it to Florida. By the way, here's how good of a shooter Donyell Marshall was, and how odd that he missed both of those free throws way back in 94. If you look up right now, most three-point shots made in a single NBA game, you're going to see several names, including a guy named Steph Curry. He's made 14, I think it was. Klay Thompson, teammate, has made 14 three-pointers in the NBA. In that top 4 or 5, you'll see Donyell Marshall. He made 12 in an NBA game. The guy could really shoot, but he missed 2 free throws that really helped the Florida Gators. That is your This Day in Sports fact, presented by Comfort Temp. Time to talk some college baseball, as promised. Last 15 to 20 minutes of the show. My buddy Trent Intorcia joins us. Trent, how you doing, my friend? I don't have any volume on Trent there. Let's see if Evan can give me an idea if I need to switch. There we go. Try it again now, Trent. You there?
I'm here. How are you?
Oh, man, you sound great. You look better. I mean, you sound great, but you look even better every time I see you. Trent, it's kind of your time of year. Former college baseball player, 3-year pro in the minor leagues. Trent, obviously, you played high-level college baseball. Let's start with the game last night. We talked a little bit at the beginning of the show. Florida State, third and final game. Gators win in walk-off fashion. They take 2 of 3 from Florida State. Where those two programs are at, particularly Florida, I don't think it was a move-the-needle game necessarily, but, boy, it's always good to beat your rival and take 2 of 3. The Gators playing a little bit better. The schedule's helping them out. What's your quick overall view of what you've seen from Florida baseball so far this year?
Yeah, I think overall you'd probably say a disappointing season. I mean, they certainly had high expectations. Preseason ranked very high. It's kind of a scrappy team. I mean, they lost their ace, in Hunter Barco to Tommy John. So that never helps anybody, regardless of how much pitching depth that you have. But this is the time of year where RPI starts to matter a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know you and I have done this for years now, and the RPI tends to get overrated, but it doesn't, because it starts to matter with posture and positioning for the postseason, where you're going to be in a regional, do you have a chance to host a regional,
sure,
and that sort of thing. So Florida State's had a solid season. They've been good, pretty good all year. I think it's a quality win, particularly this time of year, as you go into the last conference series of the weekend and into the postseason.
One disappointing aspect of Florida's baseball season has consistently been, and you call it that, they haven't had good bridge pitching, kind of getting from that 6th to the 7th, that 6th to the 8th inning, and they've struggled closing games. So the bridge and the close has been really the pitching bugaboo. And then looking at offense with the Gators, and I hate to bury a guy, but this is 2 years in a row now. I'm real frustrated with Judd Fabian. Not his average, not his. I look at Judd Fabian and I see Dave Kingman and I see a selfish player. There are times I think Judd Fabian, he's a home run hitter. I get it. He swings. But Trent, there are times when I've watched Fabian the last 2 years. Your third and fourth at bat generally in a baseball game is either the 6th or the 8th or the 7th and the 9th innings. There's times I think Fabian, he's swinging from his heels regardless of, we're trying to win a baseball game here. This is not minor leagues yet when you're trying to hit home run your way to the bigs. I think Fabian's hitting well under 175 in conference play. He's really struggled the last 2 years. He's had a lot of home runs, but from a team aspect, he's really struggled.
Well, that's the whole thing too. You even as a coach or working with young kids, and you played college baseball yourself, so it comes down to situational hitting. You have to understand the situation, and it doesn't always call for the big bop. And it's fun to watch that, to your point. But when you sit there and you go, if you're looking at a scouting report and you say, okay, this guy Fabian cannot beat us in this situation with one swing of the bat.
Sure.
Other than that, let him have his solo home runs. His strikeout and swing to miss ratio, is actually pretty high. Probably certainly where he slots in the lineup, one of the highest in the league. And you just say, you go at him in a situation where you can go at him. Maybe you pitch around him in a situation where you can pitch around him. But I mean, if you go 2 for 10, 2 for 11 in a 3-game series over a conference weekend, and you have one home run, that's just not productive.
Yeah, it really isn't. It really isn't. And I don't want to bury the guy. There are a couple other players. Florida scored enough runs, though. They scored enough runs. But Fabian at times gets me real frustrated because at some point you got to think, okay, this is a key at-bat in the game, late in the game. I got to go have a team at-bat instead of an individual at-bat. And I think sometimes he has a lot of individual at-bats. If you've got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. Not surgery, not drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Call today. Again, that's QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Trent Intorcia, my baseball analyst, joining me. Terry Norvelle, I'm in for Shane. Shane back the rest of the week. He's out doing some business. He'll be back the rest of the week. Trent, you talked a little bit a moment ago. I want to get to the college baseball season as a whole, where we're at right now, where we've come from, starting in the preseason, and really the top 10, top 5. What a weird year it was, or has been, for teams at the top. Texas was the perennial preseason favorite to win the national title. They have scuffled. I mean, they've fallen out of the top 25. They've really scuffled. They tumbled. Ole Miss jumped up there earlier in the year and sat there for a little while. Ole Miss has tumbled out of the rankings at times. They have scuffled. Vanderbilt's having an uncharacteristic rebuilding year. Florida was 9 in the Division I poll, I think, and Florida has not lived up to 9. The top 10's been wacky. Mississippi State, I give them a pass. They were ranked high based off their national championship season. Mississippi State, injuries right out of the gate. They've fallen out, but I give them a bit of a pass when you're the national title. But, Trent, what a strange year. Vanderbilt, Texas, Ole Miss, these programs got to number 1 or close to it and have just tumbled out of the rankings.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. And, of course, as a Mississippi State guy, they're going to say, yeah, he's going to hammer Ole Miss. But Ole Miss canceled a midweek game against Arkansas State.
I know.
And kind of the rumor there was kind of like, well, we don't want to damage the RPI by playing a lesser team there, this late when you're teetering on getting in a regional, or can you host a regional or whatnot. Kind of a weird year for the SEC. I mean, Texas A&M is at the top. And now, while they're not a storied program, they're a pretty solid program.
Yeah, sure.
But if you said who's going to be the top seed in the SEC tournament, they would probably be the 7th team you would mention.
How about that?
And that's just how the season's unfolded. And, injuries do play a role. The surprising part about Florida is historically they have been so solid on the mound.
On the mound, yeah. Yeah.
And this is a year that they've kind of, I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you and I mentioned that bridge factor in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And they're sort of back at it again. Mississippi State, they just lost their 5th guy to Tommy John, a pitcher. And you just can't sustain that. And you go, well, what about a program that is, I mean, how many pitchers can you roll out there?
Yeah, sure.
You get 9 or 10 or 11 or 12. You can say that, but how game ready are they?
Yeah.
How battle tested are they? And, you're facing a top 5 preseason Mississippi State team that is probably not going to even make it to Hoover.
Yeah, that's tough. And it started early. I know they were going to convert that great closer, Sims. They were going to convert him to a starter. And gosh, I want to say the first series, he goes out with an arm injury, and then it was an epidemic. You feel bad for those young guys. But the good news is Tommy John has gotten so advanced that, boy, you can get that surgery and come back sometimes stronger. Staying with college baseball, Trent Intorcia, our college baseball analyst, joining us here on PodUp with Matthews in the morning. Shane out. I'm Terry Norvelle in for Shane. He'll be back tomorrow. Miami Hurricanes have had a nice bounce-back season. They've grabbed a spot in the top 10 the last month and a half. They've been a solid season. But it's kind of weird. Miami has had a bounce-back season under Gino DiMare. They're a solid top 10 team, and they're looking forward to postseason play. But Florida and Florida State both took series from the Canes. Florida took 2 or 3 early, and FSU just took 2 or 3 from Miami. But it's nice college baseball is better when Miami's in the top 10 and popping up in Omaha every few years.
Yeah, I agree. And isn't it funny how Miami, this is kind of their time of year where they've been pretty solid all year long. Yeah. And then they squander a little bit. And that's kind of been the book on DiMare down there is, once you get to, I mean, all games matter as we both know, but these start to really matter a lot more with the impact on, where you might end up. I mean, Miami ended up in Starkville last year. Yeah. In a regional, and that's just not a great draw for anybody.
No.
So that's where you sit there and you go, let's look at the head-to-heads, and let's just say, just for example, maybe Florida or Florida State has Miami coming to one of their regionals as they're hosting, or are they hosting one of the other teams?
Probably,
and they look at the head-to-head and they go, head to head, they lose out on a coin flip, and you end up on the road, during postseason, which is it's just not easy for anybody.
Yeah, not at all. Wrapping up here with Trent Intorcia and wrapping up a Wednesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning. I don't want to pick on a program, but boy, looking at South Carolina baseball, and we won't spend much time, but you look at South Carolina, they are trying to get in the tournament. It was back in 2011, 10. South Carolina went back-to-back national championships in baseball. Ray Tanner bumped up to the AD, and boy, South Carolina. I kind of bring that up as well because that's brutal. They've really spun their wheels when they won back-to-back baseball national championships under Ray Tanner. And then you look over, how about this, Trent? Softball, SEC softball just wrapped up their tournament, and the regionals are starting on Thursday and Friday, or at least Friday, I know for sure, in Gainesville. Did you realize this is brutal? 12 SEC teams in softball have made the regionals, right? They've 12 teams got a regional bid. Only one team did not. And you say, wait a minute, 12 of 13, but there's 14 programs. Well, Vanderbilt doesn't play softball. They don't have a women's softball program. So there's only 13. South Carolina is the only program in the SEC that plays softball that didn't get a bid. Oh, that hurts, doesn't it? Oh, you're sitting home and the rest of your conference. And again, Vanderbilt doesn't field a softball program. So here you are, South Carolina. I'll bring that up, South Carolina baseball and softball. Oh, that's got to hurt. That has got to hurt.
Yeah, well, that's a hard one to explain, too, as a coach. You go, well, wait a minute, we play in a tough conference. I go, yeah, so tough that everybody else is in the postseason. I mean, that's a good point. And Ray Tanner was a heck of a coach, and I'm not saying he's not a good AD, but when you hand a program off like that, it should be plug and play, and you just keep rolling along. They have been good for, since you and I played.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been good that long, and they were perennial there, to your point, 10 years ago. Yeah. And, it's a shame, and I get everybody – you and I tend to be SEC homers, or at least they blame us for that. And then it's hard to defend that, though.
Yeah, it really is. Not to pick on them, but just wanted to get that out there. Man, that's tough. Trent, got to get out of here. Got a ton of other topics we could get to, but I appreciate your time. And it's your time of year. Enjoy the postseason. I know I will as well, softball and baseball. And it'll be a fun one, and it'll end up in Omaha as always. Thank you, buddy.
All righty. Take care.
That is Trent Intorcia. Quick final break, come back. Set up, wrap up, and set up the rest of the week here on PodUp with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics. Live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Celebration Point Town Center. Chris Doring Mortgage. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Golf Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
And that'll just about do it here on a hump day edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning. Terry Norvelle, I sat in Friday, Tuesday, and today. Had a great time. I want to thank Evan Miller, the producer of this program. He does all the work that you don't see, but has to happen to pull off any type of decent broadcast. And we appreciate Evan and all of his hard work. I want to thank JC for coming on earlier, and of course my buddy Trent Intorcia. You know, it's that time of year though, where this show obviously will swing heavy, obviously with the softball tournament and the college baseball getting into conference tournaments, softball in the regionals, and baseball into conference tournaments for the Power Five. If you're not aware though, your favorites. Your perennial favorites going into postseason play. Tennessee is sitting number 1 in college baseball. They're like 42-6. Hard to win championships, but Tennessee, they've got their sights set on one, having a great year. And in softball, Oklahoma, 49-2, I believe their record is right now. They've only lost 2 games. They won their first 36. They're the perennial number 1 seed in softball. So Tennessee and Oklahoma trying to bring home crowns, but they'll have a lot of teams and a lot of obstacles to overcome as their playoffs, baseball and softball, get underway. That'll wrap it up. Again, thanks to Evan Miller. Thanks to Shane Matthews for letting me sit in here and have some fun. Thanks to you for watching and listening. Caught Up in the Morning with Matthews, Shane Matthews, back tomorrow. Shane in the driver's seat the rest of the week. You don't want to miss it. Have a great rest of your hump day and a great rest of your week. I'm Terry Norvelle. We'll do it again soon.
Trying to get the fans fired up. 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble, can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators!